Hello and good afternoon and welcome to another week in our garden. Bit overcast today. It's definitely autumn now. You can feel the chill in the air. The leaves from the forest trees are coming down nicely. I shall be picking those up with my vacuum and putting them in a bin ready for rotting down for use next year. Now we're just going to start by showing you how I overwinter some of the geraniums, fuchsias, etc. as the bedding plants, so we can keep them either in the shed or the greenhouse and then get them out next year. It's what we do every year, but we'll show you what we do. The compost that I store them in is a very sandy mix. It's at least 2 parts sand to 1 part just general compost that I use. The sand is local sand, so there's no salt in it. It comes out of the gravel pits up the road actually. So if you are buying sand in and not getting horticultural sand, make sure it ain't got salt in it. The containers I'm using are for the ivy leaf and some of the geraniums are these old sweet boxes, plastic, and if I just show you, I just make a few holes in the bottom, bit of polythene with some holes in, it goes on top of that, and then the compost on top of that. I put a bit of compost on top, stop the polythene blowing out while I was getting ready. So we'll use this one first. Look. Some of this mixing. Now if you notice, it's very dry because we don't really want these plants growing. We want them to sit in this mixture, and it seems to work quite well. Then in the spring we'll wake them up and repot them. So if you just put a ledge at the back, right, let's have a look. These are as they've come out the pots, so as you can see they're quite a mess at the moment. Now if we just take this is a ivy leaf geranium and it's covered in dead leaves, so we take those off first so we can have a look at it. Obviously any flowers, stems that are on there, just pop those off, even the ones that are just coming and the ones that are finished. Look, try and get as many as the dead leaves off you can. You perhaps won't get them all off. Then follow the other side up. It's quite a time consuming job, but it's well worth it. If you imagine the plants by next year, that'll be quite a big plant that you'll be putting out. Follow it all the way up. Right, we're going to cut this bit off, but we'll clean it anyway, and then I'll show you. There you are. Now for the root, what you do is you loosen it as much as possible. I have got a bucket down here that I'm actually dropping the bits in. If you do that, give it a bit of a shake and then bang against your hand. Try not to damage the roots too much, but you must get as much of the compost off as you possibly can. You can actually get a stick. I used to be able to do it with a stick, but I haven't got one today, I don't know why. But there you are, look. And then we'll just get the secateurs. These roots are far too long like that, so we'll take those off. See? Now for the top, we can't leave all that on. It would be too much for the root. So we can take that one off there. These are cuttings if you want to take them. If you can keep them warm, they'll soon root and you'll have more plants. But if, like me, you've got no heat, it can be a bit dicey getting them to root down. Really need a good bottom heat for them and a light on top. And there you are, look, all ready for storing. Then into the compost. Remember we made that bank, put it at the side like that, and if I can just get a handful and just pack it with the compost like that. I'll do one more to show you how tight I put them together before we do another one. Any one will do. We'll do this one because it's a big one. Look. Very pretty, it's worth keeping. If you can, or if you wanted anyway, you could actually put a label with them. I do put a label with the geraniums, but I find that these will flower quite readily in the spring, so you soon see the colours. Just get in there and get all those little flower heads out, and then what I should do is cut it down and then clean this one. It saves a bit of time. There you are. Right, I'm having a look round it, see where we can cut. That looks alright. See, this one here's got this nice growth there, so we can take that one off as tight as we can with the secateurs. There you are. This one's got a bit of new growth coming on there, and that one's new, so I think if we can take that one off, we'll take that bit off there as well. Look. This one, it's got nothing actually growing away from it, so let's take that one away. That one, look, there's what we're looking for. It's there. This one's got a nice piece there, so take that off. And this one, we'll just go above a node if possible, because it's a good strong growth, that one. We need that one. Then we just take these dead leaves off the flower head there, so we take that. Take all that off. Yeah, looks better. Then we just clean the root. Keep an eye out for vine weevil. We have had a lot of vine weevil this year, especially in the begonias and the impatiens. We did buy them in, so next year I should be growing my own, I think. So that's that one cleaned off nice. A little bit of root to take off there. Look, let's take that off. And there's the next one ready. And if we make a little hole there, as close as that, if not closer, and then put the roots down and compost on top like that. That's the ivy leaf. Now I think we'll do this fuchsia. See, it's quite strong, and it's a beautiful fuchsia, so it's worth taking through. So we'll do the same again. Seems a shame to take such beautiful flowers off, but they've got to come off. This one was actually in the ground in the garden, that's why it's got a weird shaped stem. And there's, look round for anything that's broken. If you are taking cuttings, there's loads of cuttings on this that we could use. So let's cut it back a bit and have a look what we can do. We'll be cutting back to nodes more than anything on this one. If it's got a little bit of growth like it had there, we'll cut just above that, but we don't really want it growing through the winter, so cut it quite harsh. That one's growing across, so I'm going to have to take that one out. has made a funny shape, hasn't it? That one. We'll take that coat hanger off. Take that off. That one we'll remove. This big one we'll take down to there and then stop that. And then that one to that now. That's not so bad. Take these broken leaves off, obviously. Looks a lot better. We'll just give the root a shake. No weevil or anything in it. That's a good clean plant. Some broken roots on it. We'll perhaps cut those off. That root there is broken. We took it out of the soil. And I think that one has. Leave that one. Now, with these being a bit bigger, we'll put those in a pot, but not just one. I can get 3 in there. I've got 3 there, so 3 will go in nicely. Got plenty of holes in the bottom, and we won't be watering anyway, so. And if you put that quite low to one side and start holding it down, it's best to cover the roots up as much as possible, hence the sack to cover the roots up to keep them from drying out too much. So that's one. I've got another one here that's actually in the garden as well. Still got soil on it though. So we'll quickly cut this one down and we'll put that one in, and we'll quickly do that one so we can show you how many fuchsias are getting to the pot. These nice bushy ones, it's easier to go over them with the secateurs. So such like as that we take off. Take those off. Any dead wood, obviously, cut those out. And take it off. There. There. Take that off. We're actually taking the flowers with it as well. We don't really want flowers on them. That one is broken, so we'll take that one out. Another one there, we'll take that out. We'll just nip those 2 off because they're quite strong. Right, let's give it a shake. The chickens like it when I shake them because it goes all over the floor and they spend a long time cleaning up. Well, they don't clean up, they make a bigger mess. But these roots are okay. Now this one, let's put it in the side of that one. Like that. And again, just cover the roots for now, just to keep it moist. And then I think we'll get this one. This is out of a hanging basket, I think. But we'll do the same. I'll just lighten the root a little bit for a start. I'm actually looking for vine weevil as well. We haven't got any, so that's fine. Right, let's do this one. This is another little double one. So let's take this one, mate. Take that off. This one I could, if I wanted, take that and it'll root very quickly, that will, but I just haven't got time to do it at the moment. Take those out, take that off, stop that, take that scraggy bits off. Quick look round, that can come off. 1, 2 bits. That one's broken, not so. Let's have that one away. Take the twiggy bits off. And there you are. That one will do. This will break from here quite readily. Again, the roots. Quite a root system on it. Lots of new root growing on it, that so. As much as that compost off there as you can. That's good, look, there's hardly anything on that now. That's good. And then this one can go in there as well. Just tuck its roots down, and then we'll put some compost in. We're making a mess, but it doesn't matter. I think we've got the idea. Now you can put these either in the shed or in the greenhouse. If I put them in the bottom greenhouse, I will give them a little bit of water now and then let them dry out really well before I do it again. Perhaps with this going into winter, they'll perhaps just get one little water and that'll be it. If the weather turns very cold, in the greenhouse I put a double fleece over them, and that seems to protect them. And that's basically it for the overwintering. I shall carry on with these later today when I've got a little bit more time, but in the meantime we'll wrap them in the sack just to stop those roots drying out a little bit. And if it does get a bit warm in here, I just spray them off with a bit of water just to keep them moist. It's just a case of looking after them until we get them in the pots, and once they're in the pots they're fine. Now just a reminder of what's coming along is these have arrived this morning. These are the frames for the holly rings. There's 20 there. I think I'll make 22. I usually make them and then I donate them to the village hall and they sell them, and all the profit goes into the running of the village hall, etc. It's actually a charity, so it's a good thing. Now I was desperate for holly this year, variegated holly, plenty of green, plenty of conifer, but holly variegated are very short. So I put the word out, and actually a lady's come back to me and said she's got a variegated holly tree in her garden, quite a big tree, says come and help yourself. So we will be making holly rings this year. But that's a week or two, yeah, that's a week or two off yet. So, but I was just showing you that the rings have actually arrived. The other thing we need to do this time of year is check the pH on the garden, so we know what the pH is for the vegetables we're going to grow. Now we always say, oh, we want this for this one. If you can get your pH to 7 to 7.5, perhaps a little bit less, they'll tolerate that. But I don't know until I've tried it with my soil survey instrument to see what it is. Now I always thought this machine wasn't the most accurate, but I found that over time we keep using it, it's not so bad. And I did another little test with it earlier on, and I did a wet test and this test with this, and it seems the only thing I really needed to do with this was put a new battery in it. I put a new battery in and it works perfect. Come down to the garden with my soil surveying instrument, and what I've done, I checked the garlic bed earlier. That was at 6.5, so that's perfectly alright. We won't interfere with that. We need to do these pH tests so we know how much lime to put on the garden. Now, as I said, I've done the garlic. This bed here I'm going to use for salads next year, so I've put some well rotted manure actually on it and put the barley straw on top. I shall deep dig that over in the next few weeks. I've had some rain on it and it's settled a bit, but I will film and show you what I'm doing. Then through the winter that will be rotted down and gone, because as you know I never put salad crops, lettuce etc. into a freshly manured bed, because if you do and it rains, you'll get the splash from the manure and it taints your salad crops. Now these two plots here, these will be for the beans and the peas. What I should do is take that path out the centre and dig it through, so I can have long runs of the beans and peas going right across the two, and then when it's finished we can always pop the path back in. Do need to do the pH so we can get the lime on if necessary. Right, here we go then. It's switched on to the pH mode and push it right in. Now it takes a minute or two to settle and then give us the reading. Between 4 and 4.5, that is quite low, so this wants lime on it. It's gone to 5. 4.5, it looks like it's settling at 4.5 to 5, or 4 to 5 anyway. It wants 3 or 4 ounces to the square yard of lime on that. We'll just take the second reading off this end of the bed. Now the second reading on this pot is 5, so we'll enter that in the book. So we'll just do this half of that bed. I have to write it all down, so then when I come to lime we can I can see where it wants to be. If that one's different to that one, I've just popped the pH meter in and we just need to give it a minute. Now when we come to liming, you can actually purchase ground limestone, which is a powder, or you can actually get it in granules now, and another one that's just like sand, you can put that on. This end of the plot is showing a 6. Right, we'll do it just here, so we got 2 readings off each plot. Push it well in. Takes a minute or 2 to settle. Now this end is reading 6 as well. Now this is 6 and that was 4 to 5, so it just shows you the difference in the 2 plots. So we'll enter that at 6 again. Now just before we go down and clean, I think we're going to clean the celeriac today. We'll just go through. This will be for the beans and the peas. So what I'll be doing is I'll be double digging plenty of manure into the bottom spit of these, because the beans and peas very, very hungry, so we need to put plenty of food in there for them. But we'll go through this on each plot as we're preparing it for the crop. It's like the salad bed. I've now showed you how I've put the manure and the barley straw on, and then we'll dig that and show you it being finished, ready for the salad crops next year. So as we go down the beds, I'll do the pH levels as I go, and I'll put the lime on. Chickens won't be very pleased, because once I put the lime on, they'll not be able to come in for a while. And then, like the next pair of beds, I've got pumpkins and squashes at one end and tomatoes at the other. So we'll prepare that one, which is not ready for preparing just yet. So we'll show the next one next week, maybe 2, because I think in 3 weeks we'll be busy with holly rings, so we need to get as much done as possible before then, because I will be busy doing those. Just did the soil temperature as well while we was down there, and that far into the soil it's reading 11 degrees, so the soil's not really cooling a lot just yet. It's all this good weather we keep getting. You see the sun down there. I'm just going down with you to the celeriac to have a look at it and take some of the outer leaves off and put some barley straw on. These are the celeriac. There is a label that is washed off. So these are celeriac, as you can see. You can see it's been touched by the frost a little bit, but what we need to protect is that bottom of it there. Look, the other thing you do with celeriac this time, you see all these leaves that are split at the bottom and just laid on the soil. They're not doing anything now, so you just literally rip those off all the way round. Look. Good for the compost heap, so they'll not be wasted. Take them all off. You see that one? Yeah, take that one. And that will help the bulb to swell up a little bit. I'll finish this because Diane's flashing and she needs to change the battery. Right, Diane's come back now. You can see I've took the bottom leaves off, just pulled them off. Quite a few like there. That will be alright for the compost heap, perfectly alright. And then I'll pack it in barley straw. I should do this maybe again in a couple of weeks. Right, if you've this will tend to encourage the slugs a little bit, so if you have a slug problem, now's the time to put a layer of organic slug pellets on. Now tomorrow I shall have a delivery of my coffee grounds that I get from the garage every week. Now what I shall do is, once I've put it through the mesh just to break it up a little bit, I shall put it all around the celeriac because it does actually keep the slugs away. This will probably want doing again in a week or so because of the wind and the rain. It flattens it down a bit, so it's best to give it another covering before the big frost comes. Now I have another batch of celeriac, about the same, in the tunnel with the cauliflowers, well at one end anyway, and so I won't take the cover off today, but I will take the cover off in the week and do exactly the same inside the tunnel, but I'll show you that when we've done it. Now I'll just show you another little job that I've done. I've put some of the horse manure around the plum tree and also around the rhubarb. If you can see, I've left the crowns uncovered. I don't like to put manure on top of the crowns because it tends to rot them a bit. And then I've put some soil and banked it up a little bit because that'll stop the blackbirds. Another little job I've done, I've topped up the tree grease on the apple and the plum tree. Keep it nice and sticky for the winter. If anything wants to crawl up, it'll get stuck then. And basically, unless I have to come and tidy up a little bit, that's the rhubarb and the fruit trees finished with until spring. I won't be doing any winter pruning. All the pruning's now done. Now I'll take what's left of the barley straw back, and I shall take the tops we've taken off the celeriac, put them straight into the compost bin. They'll be gone in a few weeks. Now tomorrow we will be harvesting. We'll take some Brussels, some leeks, a cabbage, some celeriac, spring onion and carrots, but we will film it tomorrow. It's getting a bit late in the day now to doing it. We will film it tomorrow and add it on to next week's probably. So that'll be it for this week. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you are working in the garden, wrap up well, it's getting a bit cold now. And for those who are working in the garden in the sunshine, enjoy it. That'll be it for this week. As I said, thank you for watching. Many thanks for subscribing. We do appreciate it. And take care everyone, and I'll see you next week. Bye now.